public community meeting. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
Present.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Present.
Trustee Smith.
Present.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Present. May we please rise for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So I believe we only have one item on the agenda, and that's the approval of the teacher's contract. Dr. Mitchell.
Yes, this item was tabled on the last board meeting, and therefore we have to have a special session for this. Needs to go into the state. This is for the ratification of the American Federation of Teachers contract. We do have Attorney Cantrell here that will be able to answer any questions that may exist. However, I do want to preface before he takes the mic that we did reach out to our insurance company, and we found that any employee that's conducting the business of the school district is covered with insurance. We also contacted the Indiana Department of Education in regards to job descriptions and in terms of for the job descriptions for someone working with students as a coach or weight trainer, those type positions, that is required that they have CPR training, AED certifications, and every employee in our district has CPR, AED, blood-borne pathogens, suicide prevention, as well as other certifications. And I just wanted to make sure that that was clear, because I know that that was one of the issues that was raised, and we just want to make sure that we're governing ourselves not only by the policies of this school district, but also by the laws and the regulations of the state of Indiana. Attorney Cantrell.
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
before we start, Attorney Snow, we have not addressed the approval of the agenda. And on that note, I believe our policy reads that a policy is to remain on a docket if it's to be considered at a subsequent meeting. I noticed that it's missing from this agenda.
Which policy are you referring to?
I'm sorry, do you have the policy from the last meeting? We had tabled one. And
Yeah, Trustee Gomez, you're probably looking at the November 20th, 2023 that was in your red folder.
No, I'm looking at today's agenda. It does not have the policy on there, and I believe our policy states that a policy needs to stay on the agenda to be considered at a subsequent meeting. Is that correct?
That is what the policy states. I mean, I think obviously consideration of that policy wasn't what I understood to be the primary subject to the meeting for tonight. I think probably the fact that we've acknowledged on the record that we recognize that it's still out there and still set for consideration is probably sufficient. You have a special meeting tonight that was called for a specific purpose. So I think the policy would probably be more applicable if we were scheduled for regular meetings in between and skipping over it as an agenda item. But if you want to move to add it to the agenda just purely for the purpose of tabling it until the November 20th meeting, I mean, you can do that as well.
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez.
I'd like to make a motion to add to the item 301, the approval of the agenda, policy 9170.
Is that it?
That's my motion.
All right. The motion is to approve the agenda as well as add policy 9170 to the agenda. Is there a second? Hearing none, second dies, or policy, motion dies. Back to the agenda item. I do want to approve the agenda, however, so item 3.01, approval of the agenda. I'd like to make a motion, or entertain a motion for approval of the agenda for today's meeting.
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
I believe the first action is to have the community respond. Attorney Snow, is that correct?
Say that again, I'm sorry.
The first, there's a motion, or asking for a motion for the approval of the agenda, but isn't the procedure to first ask the community for comment or input?
It would typically on any motion, yes, be a request for comments from the audience.
Thank you.
Is there any comments from the audience on the agenda item? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve the agenda item? Again, do I hear a motion to approve today's agenda item for the special session? Motion made by Trustee Smith. I'll second this. I'll second it. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
Yes.
Trustee Gomez.
I just want to be clear, this is for the motion to approve the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Trustee Hernandez Orange.
Yes.
Trustee Smith.
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Now for the item,
Oh, yeah.
Item 4.01, which is the approval of AFT collection bargaining agreement 2023-2024. Mr. Cantrell?
Good evening, everyone. I do want to talk about some of the changes and highlight some of the changes on the 2023-2024 proposed contract and answer any questions that anybody might have, if that's okay, Mr. President.
Proceed.
So the new teacher's salary is going to be brought up to $47,500 for fully licensed teachers and $44,250 for emergency permit teachers who are working towards their licensure. The salary increase is for our already employed teachers who have an effective evaluation. Teachers currently making less than $49,500 will get a $2,500 raise on their base, which would bring the salary up to $47,500 if fully licensed, or whichever amount is greater. The teachers who are making currently between $49,500 and $64,999 will get a $3,500 raise. A teacher making over $65,000 will get a $4,000 raise, and it's based on some criteria. The evaluation ratings would go up. If you had an evaluation rating, you would get a $2,000 increase. 3 years of experience, $500, and then through academic need, $1,000 to teachers earning between $49,500 and $64,999, and $1,500 to teachers earning $65,000 or more. And then the teachers would get a $700 one-time stipend. So those are the types of changes have been made in the contract in respect to salary. And one of the things that we really tried to do, especially with a $2 million shortfall in the budget, we're trying to get the fitness center keep operating I think everybody has been very reasonable, and we worked hard to get to this point. And that was the difficult part, because I think one of the things that's on everybody's mind in America is that teachers need to make more money, and the teacher's job is really hard. So we're trying to get everybody on the same page and get everybody kind of to have the same perspective. And I thought it worked out really well, and just we had a bunch of humans in a difficult situation who were very, very reasonable. The contract that we used to use had to be really recreated because there was a lot of things that were deemed wrong with the contract, and that's something that we had to switch. There's different definitions. The definition of academic need really had a huge overhaul, and we weren't even allowed to create a contract that would help people who've been teachers longer, because years of experience was something that really we couldn't factor in like old contracts did. So we've been trying to figure out a way to create a contract that the state would approve and everybody here would be in agreement with. There's a dual credit aspect of the contract that's a little bit complicated, but I want to break it down to the best of my ability. The school city is going to pay a yearly stipend in the amount of $1,000 to a teacher who's appropriately certified or otherwise qualified, who's assigned to provide instruction for at least one dual credit. In order to increase the number of teachers who are appropriately certified to teach dual credit classes, the superintendent can also designate a reasonable number of teachers who are not currently assigned to teach a dual credit class to receive this stipend. Advanced placement teachers will receive a $500 stipend. One of the things that we've been dealing with in the grievance process is, if there's call-offs and there's no substitute available and teachers are given extra students, how do we compensate them for that? So when substitutes are not available at the elementary education level, students get assigned to other classrooms. $140 that day will be allocated to the teachers who absorb extra students. For example, if you have 20 students split amongst 5 teachers, the 5 teachers would each get an additional $28 for that day. That's something that we put in the contract, and that's something that we've been trying to rectify through the teachers union and through the grievance process. Dr. Mitchell has been trying to come up with a plan for that, and through the grievance process, I think we created a pretty good plan to try to address that with the teachers union. After school meetings or tutoring, the teachers are going to get a $40 an hour stipend. We also added an incentive to give some extra money when there's no call-offs during a quarter. And we also added some different extracurricular activities that were created at the high school, the Breakfast Club, the Technical Honor Society, digital media and video production, a weight room assistant, a high school scheduler and support assistant. In the middle school, we started esports. In the elementary, they started soccer. So all these things are the differences in the contract. That's the information that I really wanted to highlight, and I open the floor to any questions from anybody.
Is there any comments from the audience with regards to the AFT Collective Bargaining Agreement 2023-2024? Please state your name and address for the record.
Helen Steinbach, 5207 East 73rd Avenue in Maryville, Indiana. We've worked really hard on this. We've had collaboration from both sides. We're happy with what we have. My union teachers voted unanimously to accept this tentative agreement. We just need you guys to vote yes. Thank you.
Is there any other comments from the audience with regards to the teacher contract? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to approve item, is it 3.0? Item 4.01.
I Make a motion for approval.
Motion made by trustee Smith. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Are there any discussions? Hearing none. Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee,
I want to make something.
Oh.
Yeah, my question is to Ms. Cantrell. I know you asked me what were the concerns, and I gave them to you, so do you see any problem with what I discussed with you since you called and asked me that question?
I think that I did understand your concerns, but we are in a position to be able to vote on this tonight, for sure. There's no legal issue with it. I did call Joe Harris, and I did not speak to him, but I did call him right before the meeting. I should have called Mr. Snow, but what we're doing is appropriate, and you do have the ability to vote on this
Oh,
contract
I'm
tonight.
not questioning that.
Okay.
I'm just questioning what I asked you, since you called me and asked me some concerns.
Yes.
And I shared them with you. My question is, what I shared with you, was that appropriate? That's what I'm saying.
I think you were questioning the ability to vote on this contract tonight, and
No, the ability, no, that's not what I'm questioning.
Okay.
I'm questioning is because we had already discussed this contract. This is the third time, am I correct?
yeah,
So I think if I'm not mistaken, when you have so many votes, then what are we doing here then? That's my question, since you called and asked me, that's my question, that was my question.
yeah, I did reach out to all the board members asking if they had any comments or concerns. The vote was tabled, so I do believe that there's a call for a vote tonight, and it's fully appropriate to vote on that. Yes,
Okay. All right, thank you.
yes, ma'am.
Roll call.
Mr. President,
Trustee Gomez?
looking at the Indiana Education Employment Relation Board site, it says that this signed teacher's contract needs to be uploaded and ratified by November 15th, which was yesterday.
It should have been done last week.
You want to respond to that, ma'am?
Yes. Actually, on Tuesday, right after the board meeting, we did reach out to Herb, and we did discuss with Herb and to let him know that the vote didn't go through and we wouldn't be uploading a ratified contract. The response was, okay, we needed to upload a document, and that document essentially says that we will be moving towards mediation. So we uploaded that document, and we said that, and on that document, the box was checked after we conferenced with the American Federation of Teachers that we would not be doing a reopener. They wanted to move forward as the contract was. We uploaded that, and we got the response back this morning saying that we have 14 days, 15 days to try to work something out before it goes to mediation. However, if it goes to mediation, the school district will be responsible for all legal costs associated with this, and it can range from, actually, what he told us is that it wouldn't be an easy pill to swallow financially. And then I asked him, what did that mean? And he said that it can be tens of thousands of dollars. I said, well, what does that mean? And he said that, one that he gave me an example that it was $70,000 to a corporation that didn't ratify, that went through mediation. I don't think that we really need to go to mediation. If we can get this resolved this evening, then we can upload first thing in the morning, and that will end that, that will stop the process of the mediation going forward, which would indeed not only save the corporation dollars, but also, I believe, increase the morale of the teachers and actually move us forward so that we could continue to do the hard work of educating our students in this community.
Any other discussions? Madam Secretary, roll call.
Trustee Gibson King.
I abstain.
Trustee Gomez.
Abstain.
Trustee Hernandez
No.
Orange. I'm sorry.
No.
You said no.
Correct, no.
I'm going to change my vote to no.
Trustee Smith,
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez.
Yes. Thank you. Next, actually, yeah, so I think we're gonna, our next date and time,
No, you have a whole agenda we just approved.
oh, that's right. All right, we're going to talk about superintendent remarks. Dr. Mitchell, you got any remarks?
Yes. It's quite, I'm going to say, this is something that I believe is really important to not only the school district and the students in this community, but also the city at large. When we say that we are trying to act in the best interest of our students, then the best interest of our students to make sure that we have teachers that are ready, willing, and able to do the job to make sure that their needs are met. It's impossible for teachers, if their needs not met, to really do the exceptional job that we've come to expect in the school city of East Chicago to educate our teachers, to educate our students. Again, it's disheartening that there wasn't a unanimous vote on this in favor of this contract. I just hope that we will do better. We can do better, and we must do better. At the stake of our youth and our children, our community, rest on this, with these decisions that we make at this table. I think that we just need to be cognizant of that and make sure that when we vote for what's right and good, and we vote in favor of the children. But again, we also must make sure that our employees are also taken care of, because they're taking care of the precious little ones that we have.
Now, we'll go down to trustee remarks. Trustee Gomez?
Yes, I would have gladly voted for this, but I don't vote on hearsay. And this, a few minutes ago, was the first time I heard these words about any discussion. So I need to read something and have it right in front of me. So that was the purpose for that. I believe in teachers. I support teachers. I want to become a teacher. But I also have a job as a school board member, and that's to vote on data that's in front of me. So I think it's improper to blame the board for an inaction on someone else's part. That concludes my remarks.
Trustee Gibson King?
None at this time.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes, and I'll try to get it, even though I can't talk. So I wasn't going to say anything until Dr. Mitchell's comments regarding that he contacted the education department of the state and he contacted somebody else. And they said that the concern that I had, mind you, I've been giving this concern out for over a month. The concern that I had was, okay, you would assume on conversation that you and me personally had, that you are all about transparency. And if that was the case, like every other thing that you've sent us, I would have received those documents prior to this meeting. So I could see the transparency of what the state education system, as well as, I forgot who else you said you contacted. Second thing was, while you were contacting the state, I contacted the state. I contacted our Indiana School Board Association supporters, our reps, and I stated what was happening. I stated that we probably were gonna go into, this was probably not gonna pass. And I said, I hate the fact that we're here. And I was told, stick to your guns. If you don't believe in it, then you shouldn't vote on it. This is what I wanted to say though, and I wasn't going to. But because of that statement that was made, I will. It's really disappointing that we are here today with a failed teacher contract. I absolutely hate the fact that I could not give teachers the raises they deserve. They actually deserve more. So much so that in the budget meeting, I asked if we could raise teacher pay to the $50K starting, and compensate the longevity of teachers by percentages for this year and for next year. Some administrations agreed, others did not. I believe teachers deserve more. That our teacher union president, I contacted her, and I stated, the stipends in reality is not for teachers. Why is that? Because in order to be in charge of a building, you should have an administrator's license. In order to be in charge of a weight room, you should have at least a kinesiology degree or certifications in order to teach. Just ask our former employees, Mr. J and Mr. Zeke, who had those certifications. So is this stipend really for teachers? No. With that, I say, do not be bamboozled. We're needing the funding to pay for the stipend that was asked for. That is the reason why it's under the teacher's contract. Again, I state, teachers were not going to receive this. Why is it on the teacher's contract? Again, I contacted Dr. Mitchell in the morning, early this morning, and I said, Dr. Mitchell, is it a possibility that we could make a job description that would say, along with the position, the proper certifications that is needed? He said, and I said, if that happens, I will 100% go for that. Please put it on the desk so I could do it. He then stated, after I asked for that he will try to get to it, but he does have a busy day. Saying proper certificate, for me, nothing is more important than getting a teacher's contract passed. This is the reason I made those phone calls to the state, to people who are representatives from the state. I contacted Helen. I contacted the athletic director. I contacted Dr. Mitchell. I broke all the rules because I wanted to see this passed. Again, I told everyone this about 3 weeks ago. It saddens me that the administration is trying to strong-arm my vote to vote for something that I do not agree with. I do not agree with opening up the district to any type of liability in any situation. While arbitration might cost us money, being sued will probably cost us more. And now knowing that it's only $70,000 for arbitration, you probably could have used a stipend for an assistant athletic director, made that so you can have someone who could be over the weight room, as well as the assistant athletic director and help in the athletic office, and then this will be taken out of the teacher's contract. So the teachers wouldn't be bamboozled to go for it. Because I guarantee teachers didn't put this on the contract. With that being said, I've always been given the advice to vote on what you believe in. And I always have voted for kids. And I have actually always worked for kids. So to say that a vote like this is not for kids, I'm sorry, that is 100% wrong. I asked what needed to happen. I gave multiple scenarios to get this passed. And the fact that it was not worked, not talked about, not discussed, but the same contract came before us, that's not caring about kids. That's not finding a way to combine us to make sure that we get something like that passed. So this is the result.
It's petty nonsense.
All right, let's go,
But it's all good. The state will take over. Jesus.
yeah, let's go to
Petty nonsense.
public forum. Attorney Snow?
Are we doing a public forum? I didn't see it on the agenda.
Yes.
Okay. So as always with the public forum, your comments will be limited to 3 minutes in length. Comments are not supposed to be overly confrontational or singling out any particular board member as a target. They're not expected to be a conversation back and forth. If you did not sign up prior to the meeting to make a public comment, you will not be able to do that at this time. The last thing is that we're only addressing single items on the agenda, which at this moment, there's only one item on the agenda, so everything should be directed towards that topic. If you are overly, again, confrontational or aggressive in your comments, the board will reserve the right to terminate those comments.
Okay. Trustee Gomez, do you have a list?
Yes, first speaker is Helen Steinbeck.
Helen Steinbach, 5207 East 73rd Avenue, Maryville, Indiana. So the way the negotiation process works, and maybe some of us in the room don't understand, we have a negotiations team from the union, and there's a negotiations team from administration. So we meet together, and we present what we would like to have happen, and they discuss, and they come back to us, and they say, we can't do that, or we can do that. We talk about money usually first, and we were able to negotiate the increases in salary for our teachers at a reasonable rate in a reasonable amount of time, and pretty much it was a very good negotiations term. My negotiations team, some of my members are here. To me, it was probably the smoothest that we've had. The other thing that we do is meet to add or take away ECAs. We don't take them away very often, just because maybe it's not something that the kids are interested in anymore, so we take that away so we can use those funds to pay for something else. So this year, we were happy to add the Breakfast Club, which is a weightlifting, social emotional thing that some of our employees are doing already for free at the high school. And then the other problem that came up was our fitness center. Our fitness center wasn't being staffed. You lost the funding. And so Dr. Mitchell and I came up together to talk about a way that we could keep that fitness center open for our students. And my concern as the president of the teachers union is that some of these jobs, that the jobs that are going on the ECA have to be offered to teachers first. And if the teachers don't want them, then it could go to the other employees that might be interested.
1 minute.
And so, how many minutes,
1 minute.
Mr. Gomez? Thank you. So we're talking about a stipend of $4,478 for an assistant at the weight room that's open now 6 days a week. And so if that person is working, they're getting $4,478. And that could be split amongst more than one person. And so I'm really confused as to why this one item is holding up a raise for our teachers. And once we make a tentative agreement, once the administration says, yes, we'll do that with you, and we say, yes, that's what we want, we don't reopen that without filing a reopener. And so for $4,478 to keep the fitness center open, I'm not reopening when I already have a negotiated contract.
3 minutes, sir.
Trustee
Next
Gomez?
speaker is Sherry Adams.
Sherry Adams, East Chicago resident. This is one of the more disappointing meetings I've been attending, and I've been attending these meetings since May of this year. One of you commented that very passionately that the money was not going to be, or the stipend wouldn't go to the teachers. I'd like to know, if you're going to go that far, then let's go all the way and say where you think it's going to go to. The second comment I have is the teacher union president herself, along with Attorney Cantrell, have stood here at more than one meeting and talked about the long hours and the hard work and the effort they put in to this new contract that has to do with the teachers. So if the teachers can sit down and hammer things out and come to an agreement on something, I understand you all have something to say about it, but who are you to tell these teachers who are in those classrooms and have been for decades dealing with these children what's better for them. How can you tell a mother carrying a child that her pains are phantom? You're not that mother carrying that child. She's got to carry it 9 months to term. You don't, even if you're a female. It's not your pregnancy, it's hers. And it's the same thing with these teachers and them trying to get monies to make a different living. When we shore up these teachers, then they shore up these students. And they're exhausted. And we keep draining and draining and draining them and then asking them to do more because somebody didn't get a piece of paperwork to us. Seriously?
have 1 minute.
Look up that paperwork for yourself. I've said it before. I'm going to make another comment, and you can say about it what you want to say about it. When I first started coming to these meetings, there was another superintendent of another nationality. It was the audience who found out about his history and didn't stop. This audience members didn't stop until they had him removed. So it behooves me that once another superintendent of another nationality steps into that role, what I see for myself sitting in this audience, which I'm going to continue to do, is a steady stream of targeting toward this particular superintendent about what's not being done. I didn't get this paperwork. I can't vote on something if I didn't get the paperwork. Grow up, find out where the paperwork is, and get it. I had somebody after a meeting point their finger to me and point their finger at the superintendent after the meeting and say it's his job. No, it's not. It's all your jobs.
Ma'am, your time's up.
It's
Thank you.
all your jobs. All of you.
The next date and time for our next meeting is Monday, November 20th. That would be the regular session of the School Board of Trustees for the School City of East Chicago. Thank you very much. Motion to adjourn? Do I hear a motion?
Make a motion.
Motion made by Trustee Hernandez Orange. Is there a second? I'll second that motion. Roll call, please.
Trustee Gibson King? Yes. Trustee Gomez?
Yes.
Trustee Hernandez Orange?
Yes.
Chairman Rodriguez?
Yes. Thank you. Meeting's adjourned.